Time for sound design. In this video, I'm going to talk about the latest vinyl records that I got, and I bought these records all for the purpose of finding samples on it and using those samples in my music. So if you have seen any of my previous videos, you know that I regularly sample from vinyl, usually secondhand vinyl, old vinyl records that I either find online or in the local stores. And when I look for vinyl, I look for specific things. So either drums or samples like vocal samples, so a cappellas, or some kind of sound effects. So without further ado, let's start with the first record. So the first one is this record. It's a compilation album called Silver Selection from Randstad, which is a Dutch employment agency. And this record was to celebrate their 25th year anniversary in 1985. So this was released in 1985. And it's basically a record with all kinds of mostly American artists on it. There's Michael Jackson, Paul Young, Cyndi Lauper. So nothing special, you would say. But the first song on side one is called Let's Go to Randstad, which is the name of the company. And it's produced by the Dutch composer Rogier van Otterlo. On this track, there is an open drum break, which is a very nice to sample. And I've used this drum break on the video where I talk about the 6 levels of sampling. I use this track to exemplify those 6 different ways you can sample. So that video is also linked in the description. And I found this one very, very cheap. And it's also in very good condition. I don't know if you can see this. Another fun fact about this record is that the cover is designed by Total Design, the famous Dutch advertisement agency that did a lot of iconic design. So they did the branding for Randstad, but then also this record. And you can see the inside, you have the whole sort of geometric layout that they're known for. So that's the first record. Then on to record number 2. It's the Filicorda rhythm record. So it's a 7-inch. This record came with the Filicorda organ. So it's a transistor organ from the originally released in 1961, but they had different incarnations of this organ. This organ is from Philips, and this record is also from Philips. And the idea of this record is that if you would play the organ, you need some kind of rhythm section, metronome, that you can play along to, and therefore they released this record, and you can put this on and then play with your organ at home to the drums. So on this record there are 6 different tracks. On side A there's quick step, medium tempo foxtrot, rumba, and then on side B waltz slow and waltz quick and a tango. And it sounds like this. So the quick step on side A. And that's basically the whole track. So it's just like a percussion track that you can play along to. And then the rumba sounds like this. I don't know from what year this record is, because it doesn't say on the actual record, and also on Discogs it doesn't say what year. So the first organ came out in 61, and there's a re-release of this record from 1970. So I assume that this is then one of the earlier ones from 61 or up till 1970. And why did I get this record? Well, partly because of the story behind it with the organ, but also because it is open percussion, so you can easily sample this as a loop or take individual sounds out of this. Going on to the next one. So these are actually 3 records that I want to discuss. They're all 7 inches. The first one is Original Stories for Children Inspired by Star Trek, The Time Stealer from 1971. So it's basically the Star Trek story told, and it sounds like this.
Captain's log. Stardate 6134.6. The mysterious time slowdown we're experiencing has affected not only every crew.
So this is great for sampling. You have the orchestral sound, you have the voices. Some of the parts are there's not much music, you just have the voices, so it's even perfect for scratching. So that's a little fun record. The second one is a record for doing yoga, and it has like breathing exercises and relaxation exercises. It's also in Dutch. It has a very aggressive line on the front, or a yawning line maybe. So it's a 7-inch record. And then the third one is kind of a special one as well. And this is a record for the celebration of 50 years of HEMA, which is a store in Holland, or chain. The funny thing about this record is that it's a flexi disc. As you can see, it's very thin, it's flexible, and it's only on one side. So this is the back side, it's empty. I don't know if maybe flexi discs are always one-sided because they're so thin that you can't actually have music on two sides. But anyway, this is a snippet of the record.
50 jaar geleden maakte men ook al grammofoonplaten. En dat klonk toen bijvoorbeeld zo.
De meeste mensen klagen.
So this is like a really old record with there's music on it, there's talking on it. The quality is not that great, as you can hear. There's a lot of surface noise on this record, which makes sense. And this record, let's see if there's a year on it. And this record was released in 1976. We'll leave the 7 inches for now and let's go to 12 inches. And then I picked up this one, Super Sound Stereo Effects for film projections and hi-fi fans. So another Dutch record, and it's actually a dual LP, so it's two records, also in quite a good condition, actually, very good condition. And what you can find on these kind of records, I mean, there's many of these old records with sound effects around. Sometimes they ask like ridiculously high prices for these records, which I don't think it's worth it. So it's all kinds of different sound effects. So you have weather sounds, all kinds of vehicle sounds like airplanes, trains, cars, animals. The birds sound like this. I mean, just for the cover, this is an interesting record. You have all the old equipment, the Leica camera, projector, cassette tape, the headphones from Sennheiser, which actually look very similar to the ones you still can buy. Especially the more atmospheric sounds, like the weather sounds and the bird sounds, are definitely usable in today's music, I think. So all the records I talked about so far are second-hand records. But I also bought some new records, and they're actually re-releases of old records. So I bought these two library records. So the series called Themes, and then I have Mystery Movie and Synthesizer and Percussion. And they have been re-released by Be With Records. And it's a library record from 1974 originally. And on the Synthesizer and Percussion record, there are a lot of synthesizer sounds. It's made with the ARP synthesizer, the ARP 2600, and then there's some percussion, but there are also bits where just the synthesizer without the percussion, and it sounds like this. So this is perfect for sampling. I usually don't want to sample like a whole melodic part or like riffs, but maybe one or two notes from this sequence, or rearrange the sequence perhaps could be an idea. I actually don't know how hard it is to find the original of these records, but I saw these ones and I think having the re-releases is still very nice. So these are most of the records that I got. The other kind of category of records that I got are hip-hop 12 inches. So basically records where you have both the original mix, the instrumental, and the a cappella, like this one from Rob Swift, Dope on Plastic, has the a cappella. So then I can use that for sampling just a word or two, or doing some scratching. But basically when I pick up records or when I look for records, I try to find something that is unique about them. So either it's like sort of a non-musical record, as they call it, for celebrating something, and it has like voices on it or sound effects, or it has a cappellas on it, or it is a library record with like isolated instruments. So it's something that I can sample. It's not necessarily, many of these records I don't listen to for the music, apart from the hip hop records maybe. So there's always kind of a purpose I have a purpose in mind when I try to find records that I want to use for sampling. So let me know if you buy records, for what purpose do you buy them? How do you look for samples? Do you look for certain years, for genres, for types of sounds? Let me know in the comments. As always, keep making music. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.